All right, ladies and gentlemen, DGens and DGenettes, welcome back to another episode of WenMint, Cardano Culture and NFTs. Today, I'm joined by Jimmy, one of the co-founders, confounders of Stag. Sorry, I can't speak. It was a long day at work. Jimmy, what's going on, man? How are you?
Hi, how are you? Yeah, I'm good, thank you. Also a long day at work, so I can empathize with you on that one.
Hell yeah. We have a lot of people tuning in live on both YouTube and X. Don't forget,
Awesome.
people, if you're watching on the X broadcast, if you comment in the broadcast, we can see your comments here and we can throw them up on screen. Same with the YouTube live chat. So if you have any questions for Jimmy about Stag Alliance or anything else, make sure you chime in. And with that, don't forget to head on over to the WenMint website, wenmintpodcast.io. Head to the Discord because we're going to have a Stag Alliance giveaway. Thank you again so much for that, Jimmy. But we have an issue. Me6 is down right now. The server is down. So we're going to get it up unless did we want to do the Twitter? Want to do it with the X broadcast? Just do a retweet?
I mean, it's completely up to you. I'm happy to do that, but as you say, the bots can get a little bit out of hand, so it's
I know.
completely up to you.
Yeah, normally we do it in the Discord, right?
Mm,
Because then there's no Twitter bots, right? You're real people. We'll leave it up to everybody in the chat. So if you're on YouTube live or on X live, let us know if you want us to run it in the Discord. Like always, so there's a better chance that one of you actually win it and not a Twitter bot. Let me know. And as soon as Me6 is back on its feet, we'll get the Stag giveaway up. Otherwise, if you want us to run it on X as like a retweet, tag a couple friends kind of deal, we can do that too. So let us know. Looks like we got the we can wait. They
yeah,
so
let's
far.
do Discord then. Yeah,
All right. So it'll be in the Discord. I'll keep everybody up to date. Head to onemintpodcast.io. The link to the Discord is right there, and I'll make sure it's in announcements as soon as that's up.
sounds
Uh
good.
yeah. All right, cool. So anyway, with that, let's get into Stag Lines. And first, how are you today, man? How's the day been?
It's been good. It's the last couple of weeks have been incredibly intense because we've got two really big releases coming out within a few days. Um, so it's been extremely busy. I'll talk more about the releases later because probably better I introduce the project and everything else. But it's been incredibly exciting because all of the things that we, I guess, said we would do are now coming into fruition this year. It's been a long, tough bear market, and we've genuinely been grinding every day to deliver on our vision essentially, and now two major releases are coming into fruition. So I'm exhausted, but I'm over the moon. Kind
Hell
of,
yeah. It
yeah,
is a ton of work, right? People don't realize how much work goes into being an NFT project founder, especially a project like Stag Alliance that really, when you say you're going to do something, right? Historically, you guys are doing it, right?
absolutely. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, you could envisage a kind of spectrum of NFT projects, right? We've seen some that have underdelivered, maybe on purpose, maybe not. I guess what they call a slow rug or a hard rug. It's
Yeah.
misdelivery by intention, and often the projects that really are putting in work get tarred by the same brush until they deliver. But good things take an awful long time to deliver. If you're building a web system, or say, for instance, like us, creating a book as well as a unique staking platform, those kinds of things take a lot of time. And I can completely appreciate that sometimes community members can become impatient, a little bit worried, simply because of the way certain other projects have kind of never delivered. And so
Right.
it's extremely hard. But what I would encourage all community members of any project is, appreciate that good things take time to build, but generally they're worth it. It's much better than just simply rushing something and decreasing the probability of success, right? So yeah, it's really really tough, but at the end of the day, we're kind of here to create a new paradigm of value. Everyone in the space is here to change the world in one way or another, whether they know it or not. So it's going to be tough, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And it is, everyone in the NFT space wants everything instantly, right? We all do. It's
Yeah,
unfortunate. It's just a part of the space, right? Everything moves so much
yeah,
faster here. But people
yeah,
forget that an NFT project, at least a good NFT project, truly is, when you have an initial mint, it's a startup, right?
yeah.
That's seed funding. This is a business, and businesses, at least good ones, don't pop up overnight. If they do, they did something wrong, and you're probably going to find out about it in 6 months or so when it falls apart. But something that's going to last the test of time, it takes time to build. It needs a good foundation. So it is important to have patience, and you can kind of tell by reading between the lines, right? Like the founders and the team, everyone involved with Stag Alliance, right? They're constantly in contact with the community. They're active. They're working on things, right? That's different than some of these absentee founders
Mm.
that never show their faces there. And whatever, if you don't want to be doxxed, that's up to you. But they're not talking, they're not doing anything, and they're just making a promise once every, quarter, and nothing ever comes of it.
Is exactly, yeah. And I mean, I have heard of projects where there's been radio silence for over a year and holders are still appreciating or maybe holding on to the building in silence aspect. But that seems to me unacceptable. I think at least, build in silence, fair enough. If you want to focus on building rather than comms, I appreciate that style. We like to
Right.
do both. We like to communicate, even though it is extremely time consuming. For instance, we do our Friday fix, which is a summary of everything we've been doing that week, summary of things to come, and a general overview snapshot of the project. We do that every Friday. And now that's a team effort that usually me, Ashley, Blackie, and several other team members do. And you could essentially say, okay, well, what if we put that time into a different task, like creating a product or something? Well, maybe we would come out with releases quicker, but at the same time, leaving a community in radio silence to me just seems absurd. I think it's very important to keep them up to date, and I think loads of our community members really appreciate the Friday fix. I love going into Discord in the morning on a Friday, and then I see all the messages. Oh, I can't wait for Friday fix. And then I think, oh, yeah, Friday fix. We need to get that out as soon as possible because everyone's waiting. But when you've got a huge to do list as well, you can't just focus the whole morning on one thing. So, it's tough juggling every aspect of a project, but I really do hope that people recognize that we are building every day. We're absolutely not slow rugging or anything like that. And this weekend and on Monday we've got our staking platform release. People will see, okay, they really have been building, and
Hell
any
yeah.
potential concerns may have been misplaced, which is extremely common in a bear market. This is my third cycle, so I'm pretty
Yeah.
aware of these things and
You're an
how
old
you
hat.
feel.
Yeah. You're an
Yeah,
old hat by
finally.
now.
Yeah, now I am. Yeah, I never realized it until I counted back the years, and then I thought, wow, actually, I have been in this space for a long time now. Time
Oh,
just
yeah.
flies.
And I think
Yeah,
the community does recognize it, right? Like, look right here, right? Twitter is always active as well. Like they know,
yeah,
and communities know, right? There's a lot more smarts in the everyday DGen, especially on Cardano, than most will admit. But while we're at it, speaking of Twitter, if you're watching this broadcast right now on Twitter or on YouTube, right? Even if you can't stick around and watch the whole thing, but you love what Stag Alliance is out here doing, or you've been watching WenMint since 2021, make sure you retweet this, smash that like button, subscribe, do whatever you can to spread this so everyone can hear about all the awesome stuff that Stag Alliance is up to and what they have coming up in the very near future. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's for the herd, right? Come on, do it for
for
the
the
herd,
herd,
people.
exactly.
Do it for the herd. Amber Heard. Anyway, not for her. Do it for the other herd. All right. So you said, I guess first, just real quick, for anyone that hasn't heard of Stag Alliance, which that's insane, but just in case, they've been living under a rock. Before we jump into, because I really want to ask about this staking platform coming out in a few
Okay.
days. But when did Stag Alliance start, and what's kind of the whole idea behind the project?
Okay, so I actually didn't. I'm not the OG founder. Ashley is the OG founder. He's with his family at the moment. He couldn't join us, unfortunately,
God,
because I really like doing
family.
the spaces with him. But
How dare he spend time with family?
exactly. Yeah, he's got two young, adorable children, and he just has to focus on them, which is great. And so Ashley founded it a long time ago now. We're talking well over a year, where essentially he was just interested in Cardano NFTs. And Ashley is a designer and visual artist. He has been for years, since studying at university, and he kind of got into Cardano NFTs, and I guess uh, got taken in by the whole culture. And I don't know whether we could call it getting obsessed by it, but he loved it. And
Maybe a little bit.
he's, yeah, like you do, we do
Yep.
sometimes. And he draws, he illustrates, and he tested the water a little bit in some discords to see if people liked his art. And they did. The project was you could almost call it an instant success, but I'm not saying it was um, just dropping art into Discord and everything was done. It was
Right.
dropping art into Discord, people really liking it, and then all of a sudden there was a lot of demand for more. Why don't you start your own Discord? Why don't you? And then before he knew it, essentially, he had a really exciting project on his hands, and he asked me to write some lore. I've known Ashley since school, so since we were about 10, so long time now. I'm a writer, and so he asked me to write some lore for the project, and I love fantasy writing, so it was an absolute yes, no question about it. So I wrote the lore, and I'd already been really excited about crypto for a long time. I hadn't been in NFTs, but for crypto for a long time. I think it was me who got Ashley um, engaged in NFTs, because I was like, oh well, this is a new kind of paradigm, a really new exciting space. Have you looked at NFTs? Because I know he likes art, and I didn't specifically tell him to go to Cardano. He just kind of found that naturally.
No, no, no. Come on, let's be honest. I'm sorry, Ashley, you're not here to stand up for yourself, but if it wasn't for Jimmy, Stag Alliance just wouldn't be here,
Well,
right?
this is the beauty of serendipity, right? There are threads in life that connect, and you don't know how or why they connected, but sometimes you just know they were meant to connect, right? And I feel like this whole my crypto journey, Ashley's NFT journey, the fact that I'm a writer, the fact he's a visual designer, the fact we've both managed and ran businesses, worked with blue chip companies, essentially it all came together. And I've been fascinated by crypto since I actually took some time to look into it, which really was about 2016, 17. I first heard about Bitcoin in about 2010, 11, but I just discarded it, read a few articles, thought it's backed by nothing, don't understand it, left it. Obviously, that was $1 million mistake, but you learn from them, right?
Yep.
And so later, when I really understood it, I realized, okay, well, this is genuinely going to create a new paradigm of value. And so, with that fascination, especially because I'm just fascinated by business and economics and philosophy of value, I've actually written essays at university on like human attribution of value and things like that. So, it all kind of went into this point. And when we had the opportunity to create a project where we could take everything we'd learned and essentially create something of real value that could I like to say we are experimenting with and pioneering a new paradigm of value. And I'll talk more about that when I talk about the value capture of our NFTs. So anyway, I fast forward to me writing the law, Ashley and the mods I guess pushing forward the Discord, the socials, and us shaping the vision for the project, and looking at how we can essentially create this new paradigm of value. And what we're doing is, first of all, our mission is to create a household brand, and that is a fantasy brand. So we're looking at things like Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, Marvel, anything fantasy. It's a very
Right.
wide genre, right? And we're doing that essentially with a very interesting dynamic of creating products for Web 2, so fantasy lovers, and those products are things like books, audio books, and things like social content as well as online gaming. And we are accelerating our progress with this new paradigm of value, that is using the power of Web 3 to um, well, for want of better words, literally to accelerate the progress. So
Right.
I see huge potential in Web3, in tokenization, to change the way we transact value. That's just quite a rudimentary way of saying it, but the way value flows through different things is now completely changed by tokenization, and not whether that's fungible or non-fungible. And again, we can talk in more detail about that. So our mission to create that household brand comes with Web 2 products and Web 3 products, like the staking platform I'm going to tell you about, like the gamification. And then eventually the plan is to merge the two seamlessly so that nobody knows, or rather, nobody cares about the difference.
Right.
That's the ultimate goal, right? Digital collectibles, the flow of value with a seamless user experience. And I firmly believe that Web3 or tokenization, decentralized tokenization, enables something that couldn't be done before. And again, I'll talk a bit more about that later.
Hell yeah, absolutely. This all sounds really, really cool. And you guys have a great grasp on how, everyone talks about, hey, we're gonna make a brand. Hey, we're gonna be a brand, right? That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna take over Web 2 from within Cardano. Somehow we're gonna figure it out. I promise it's in our roadmap. Um,
Got you.
but they don't really seem to have a grasp on really what that means and how to do it, right? Like when you said gamifying things so that people don't care, there is no difference, right? People won't care anymore. That's what you need to do, right? If you're asking people to do something, they're not going to want to do it if it's just, oh, you're asking me to do you a favor. Okay, I'll take time out of my day to
Mhm.
do it. But if you make it fun, if you make it
Yeah.
engaging, if you make it something that they want to do, then right there's value for them to go and follow the path that you're leading them down. So yeah, this sounds awesome. Everyone's going nuts here about staking and the book. So I think we need to get into
Cool.
this before somebody
Absolutely.
gets really upset at me. So what's going on? So Monday, your
Monday,
staking
yeah.
platform is
Is
being released, and is that the Bank of
it
Moonstone?
is the Bank of Moonstone, yeah. So Moonstone's part of our law. For those people who don't know, it's the town that the stags build in the law. So check out the law on our website if you're interested in the fantasy stuff. We've got the audio. If you can read it or listen to the audio, it's really cool. Well produced by our audio narrator and Ashley, because he does the sound effects and things like that. Anyway, so the Bank of Moonstone is the first establishment that we're building in our gamified platform. So part of our vision was always to create a gamified platform that kind of focused on the fantasy storytelling and the fantasy role play elements of our law. And essentially, to begin our experimentation in the new paradigm of value. And part of that for me is the way tokenization could make the ownership or the experience of a fantasy world more tangible. And my example of that would be, for instance, if I wanted to play a Lord of the Rings game and say some kind of MMORPG. My favorite example is actually the RuneScape Party Hat. The RuneScape Party Hat was they dropped them all for free one New Year's or one Christmas. No one really knew what they were. Many people discarded them. They became incredibly rare and valuable. We're talking like $5,000
Oh, wow.
on the black market, because you're not allowed to sell them in game. So there's no, sorry, you're not allowed to sell them out of the game. So there's your problem. You had this thing worth $5,000, but it was owned by Jagex, the developer. And even from years ago, before NFTs were even big, I was thinking to myself, well, tokenization could change that. You know, it could mean you own that piece of value, that party hat, and you can do what you want with it. And so we think a fantasy world is an incredibly good way to experiment with that new paradigm of value, because we've seen it. You know, I'm not a big MMORPG gamer anymore, but if years ago a RuneScape party hat could have been worth $5,000, I'm sure there are some in-game collectibles worth an awful lot more as well.
Right.
And that's where NFTs come in, you know. So the Bank of Moonstone is the first establishment in that gamified platform. And it's really interesting for us because we didn't even promise it in our vision paper, because first of all, we didn't want to do traditional staking. I've got a big problem with um, essentially incentivizing someone to hold an NFT by giving them a token that they're going to want to sell for ADA and eventually fiat, because logically you then have a downwards trend, because simply for that NFT you want money and you're being given a token that can be worth money and you're selling it. So that's the downwards pressure. And
Right.
then we've seen a lot of projects race to try peg value to that token. And I've not found the logical way to completely justify a token. There are some ways of justifying it to some extent, but in the current models, it's actually extremely logically flawed. And I had some good fun talking to our game economist, who has an incredible brain. He kind of works out the intricate models of, well, what happens when we introduce these variables into the game, and there are a million other variables, and how do we balance it? And that takes a really certain a type of brain. I don't quite have that brain. I sit in the middle of creative and logic, but I love his brain. And he was extremely against creating a token in the traditional sense as well. And so we couldn't promise any kind of staking or any kind of what I consider a much better value capture, which is what we finally achieved, where we generate income through genuine income sources. So we're not creating a token out of thin air,
Right.
which is essentially loosely what happens with a native token.
Pretty much. We could go right now live and make about 30 billion, whatever tokens right now for about 10
Shall
minutes,
we shall
you know?
we live create a when meme token on Solana? We'll probably do quite well.
We could.
Bring all the
I've never
liquidity back
done it.
to
Yeah, I've never done it on Sol, but we could do that and then just take all the liquidity and bring it back and
bring it back to Cardano. Yeah, I
spend it
like
all
it.
on Stags. Hell yeah. We'll talk
Sounds
after
good
the
to
show.
me.
All right, cool.
If someone sees a when token pop up, I mean, it's probably already there. There's millions of
Yeah.
them,
No, I
and
think and especially when talk about common nomenclature, right?
is
It's gotta
actually
be, yeah.
is gotta be, yeah,
But what
exactly,
are you gonna do? But anyway, so you
exactly.
guys, that is the truth, right? And it's what most projects do. And it's kind of sad. It's what is it's almost like if someone just says, hey, we're staking or we're mining or
Mm,
they use one of these buzzwords,
mm,
people are just like, I expect from an
yeah,
NFT project. But you have to be different. And being different is a good thing. It's how you stand out, it's how you survive. So you
yeah.
guys did it differently. So how does this differentiate with the Bank of Moonstone from a normal staking platform?
So first of all, you earn ADA from our various income sources. So an example of those income sources are, we're launching the book on Amazon. The hard sale, the hard release is the 23rd of March. So real world product, and some of the income from that product is going into the Grand Vault, which is the first vault in the Bank of Moonstone. Now, with our staking, I believe and I'm really always happy to be challenged on these things because I make very bold claims. But I believe we are giving the best rewards in the space. Now, I've seen other projects when their staking token is new, it can get hyped quite a lot. And I'm not saying we're giving the best earnings in the space because
Right.
I haven't looked at the exact earnings of every project. But because a native token is destined to trend downwards 9 times out of 10, 99 times out of 100, I would say that's a temporary, you can get your native token, you can swap it for ADA. Great, it's good while it lasts, not so good when the music stops. And generally I've seen a lot of charts trend down. So um, ours isn't just earnings. A lot of staking is about earning a token and selling it so you get eventually fiat or ADA, and you're earning, and that's great. Lots of
Right.
people are in crypto to earn, but we're offering many other what I think are epic rewards. So one of them, for instance, is, or actually, let me backtrack a bit. You go to the Bank of Moonstone on Monday, you register your NFTs, you will be earning an off-chain point system called Prestige. Now, the amount of prestige you gain in a season gives you all sorts of benefits. So we've gamified the staking and the earning of prestige, essentially with the principles of the more stags you have and portal passes, and the more loyal you are, and the more strategic you are, as in playing into the gamification, the more prestige you'll earn. And generally, that is going to expand in many really exciting ways, which I'll go into a bit later. And the more prestige you earn, the more rewards you get. One of them is the ADA. So the vault gets filled with ADA. Your portion of prestige in the vault compared to others gives you your portion of ADA. But
Got
then
it.
we've also got some more kind of, I guess for some people it'll be exciting, for some people it won't be so exciting, but voting. So we're building an establishment called the Royal Courts, and people will be able to vote and help us shape the project. Now, I have to be very clear because we've been working with lawyers, and they've been very clear with us about what the structures need to be to allow earning and voting. And I have to be very clear that it's not executive voting. It's not as if um, our NFT holders are shareholders in the company, because the SEC and the FCA and all the other, we would be in a lot of trouble. So
Yeah.
we're going to use the royal courts to help shape the project and get the pulse of the community, what they're thinking, what they want, how they want us to shape
Right.
the
But
project.
the
They're all
final decision always lays with the team.
It has to. It has
Right.
to. I would love to create a structure where the NFT holders are shareholders and they can earn, and, like a decentralized autonomous organization with earnings. But you can't. You can't. There are rules.
No.
That
And that you guys are admitting that and saying that is a big thing. That's what I talk about with reading between the lines when it comes to projects, right? Because a lot of projects will just say, "Hey, you're going to be able to vote, you're going to be able to shape the project, and that's it." Right? Stag Alliance is trying to build something, and they are building something the right way, right? They're talking to lawyers, they're figuring out how to do this not only to protect the project but the community members as well. So that's why these decisions are being made. It's in the best interest of the project and the community. When it would be much easier just to blow smoke and say, you know what, it's all up to you guys. You
yeah.
earn your prestige. Come vote. We promise. It's all on you. And then when the SEC comes, what happens, right?
Exactly. Yeah, it's hugely problematic, and there are some really interesting dynamics I've seen where I've seen projects make major faux pas, or even say a derivative project where they don't own the IP. And I think to myself, well, you could mint and flip that, but there is no way that project can reach a certain level of success, because the moment it's successful, the IP holder is going to come knocking on the door.
Yeah,
So
well,
it's
and
it's
like you said with native tokens too, it's kind of true with NFTs as well, right? If you look at the grand scheme of things, all NFT projects that have ever been made and put them on a chart, most don't make it.
no,
Okay, they might hold on
no.
for a while, But
Yeah.
that is a very, that chart goes pretty, that's a double black diamond downward.
Absolutely, yeah, yeah. If there's one thing I've seen a lot, because I love looking at charts for a few minutes every day. I love reading charts, and it's an art in itself, and it's so fun. But it also gives you a lot of information when you compare it to the project's timeline as well. And at the end of the day, 9 out of 10 businesses fail. That's a real world business with at least a little barrier to entry.
Right.
You can get business funding quite easily. I've done it several times. I've managed plenty of businesses. You can, but there is a barrier to entry. You can't just knock on the bank's door and say, "Yeah, I need a business loan. Can you give me, 500,000 and I'll come back in 2 years and tell you how it's gone." Just doesn't work like that. There's a barrier
Unfortunately.
to entry.
Right.
Yeah. Whereas with NFTs, with crypto, there is no barrier to entry. The barrier to entry is the community. Win the community's favor, you can get your funding. Make the community unhappy, you don't get the funding. It's as simple as that,
Right.
which I love.
Yeah, and something as simple as learning like growth hacking, right? I mean, look it up, people. Go look up growth hacker and what that means, and you can learn how to make something take off instantly in this
Mm,
case, because that's
yeah,
really what it
absolutely.
is.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's growth hacking. Yeah. And so, yeah, as you were saying, NFTs generally fail. And that's the harsh truth of the matter. So as a founder, we want to continually increase our probability of success. Everything in life is probabilities, right? And
Yep.
especially in crypto, in any market, especially speculative markets, it's all probabilities. And I like to think of everything in probabilities. And every day, me and the team are aiming to increase our probabilities of success. That's how it goes. And working with lawyers, horrifically expensive. You'd see the invoices and you'd probably just want to look away. Horrific. But if it means we can cover the way we work and be comfortable and make sure we're not going to risk our probability of success or lower our probability of success, it's worth its weight in gold. And so we've been doing that, and we know now how to do what we're doing, which is incredibly unique. For instance, these real world earnings coming into the Bank of Moonstone and people earning them. But there's also plenty of other perks you get from staking too. For instance, my favorite is the special edition hardcovers of the books
Oh,
that we're
nice.
printing. Yeah, we're getting some really, really fancy, nicely collectible books that I'll sign and send out to the top stakers. So it's a great reward for many people, but for some people, maybe you don't like books, so it's a bit of a dud. Well, that's fine. You're still earning ADA. And to
Right.
be honest, a collectible book, maybe right now not worth a lot, but again, it has an increased probability of being worth something at some point, the more successful the brand is. So you you have an NFT that's um, sort of tangibly connected to the success of the brand. Now you have a book that's also connected to the brand, also potentially going to increase in value. And you also have a really interesting dynamic of when your in real life friend says, "Well, what the hell are these? What the hell are these NFTs about?" You're just getting Ponzi tokens, and the NFTs only have value because someone else wants to buy it from you higher, which is technically
Right. You
ponzification.
have something real to show these people. Like I
You
love
sh-
that stuff. Even if you're
yeah,
not
you
a
show
book
them the
fan.
book.
I mean, look at this. This is all over the desk, right? There's Stankate, Speakeasy, right? Have all their
Love it.
stuff. The BCRC Origins comic.
Awesome.
I got my
Yeah,
JPEG
that's awesome.
junkies hanging out. Like that's even if you're not a huge book fan, having that real world connection to something that is kind of in the ether, right? In crypto is really, really cool. So just so I make sure I got this right. So Bank of Moonstone, right? Opens Monday, people. Staking. And if you want to learn more about what we're talking about with Stag Alliance, make sure you follow them on X. The handle is at Stag Alliance, or go to WenMint.com. You can find all their links, right? Join the Discord, check out the community. It's a very strong community. You will like what you find. And if you're watching this on X or YouTube, throw a comment. We can see it on the screen, or we can even throw it up on the screen for you. And make sure you share this, retweet, like, subscribe, do all the things you're supposed to do. But anyway, so Bank of Moonstone is the Stag staking platform. It's coming out on Monday. So this Monday, right? This comes out. I would stake a stag, right?
Yep.
And I'd get prestige. So this is an
Mhm.
off-chain, almost like an in-game kind of points system, almost like how
Exactly.
not the same, but like what BCRC is doing with kind of like their boss points, right? You stake bosspass.io, you get boss points, right? But it's not a token
Right. Right.
necessarily.
Right. Exactly. It's a
Okay.
point system. Yeah. Exactly.
Right. And actually, I'm lying because you can't have boss points in your wallet. So I lied. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm a
Okay.
professional, as you can tell. But anyway, so you'll be able to turn this prestige into ADA, depending on your prestige holding. Right. It's directly correlated to the amount of rewards you can
Yeah.
receive. But there are other benefits as well, like the IRL super special edition hardcover that you guys will have for the book.
Yeah.
Voting, right? Not,
Yeah.
end of the world voting. People aren't taking over the project here, but you can make your voice heard. Now with the voting, if you have more prestige, let's say like, I don't know, are you going to shave your head? Let's say, right? Is Jimmy going to shave his head this week? And if I have 1,000,000 prestige, do I get 1,000,000 thumbs up for that? Or is it just
Your voting is proportionate. Yeah. Yeah. So the
nice?
more I guess skin in the game, for want of a better phrase, you have, the more NFTs, the more strategic you are. All of these, the more prestige you earn, the more significance your voice is going to have. We just
Oh yeah.
think that's quite fair. You know, you would want people to feel like their involvement in the project is reflected in various ways, whether it's the amount you hold of stags, or the amount of time and effort you put into creating the right collection. Because we have three types of staking technically. One of them's fluid. You just register your wallet and off you go. You
And that's it. Right.
earn prestige every day. The other is promise staking, where you can make a promise. If you keep that promise, you can get up to double your prestige. But if you break the promise, you lose the prestige associated with that NFT. So it's kind of like a double or nothing. If you're willing to um, be committed, you can get more.
What
And
kind
then we
of
have
what kind of promise? I'm sorry, that was just intriguing. Like what kind of
okay.
promises? Like, I promise I'm not going to speed on the freeway.
No,
Is
I
that
wish it was that. No, sorry, it's like time based. So, for instance, 30-day promise,
like
60-day promise, that kind of thing.
like a lot staking kind of idea, but you still have the NFT, but it's
Yeah, it's
okay,
completely non-custodial. So
cool.
if you decide to list your NFT or decide to sell it, that's fine, completely up to you. You just lose your prestige on our side, because we want people to have flexibility. We love the idea of how crypto and NFT enables ownership and enables more sovereignty than any other um, tech system that was available before. But at the same time, we also want people, our whole thing is enabling people to create value with us. Now, people can do that in several ways. So this is actually a relevant time for me to say, I believe we've created the first NFT in the world that meaningfully connects the four major types of value that an NFT can capture. And that is collectability. So if you look at a CryptoPunk, the pinnacle of collectability,
Right.
because they're incredibly expensive because of their reputation, highly collectible, just like a Pokemon Pikachu illustrator card. The second of that is earnings. Now, earnings can be unique to NFTs compared to something like a Pokemon card. For instance, if I own a Pokemon card, I can't it can't earn. It can't. Pokemon does its thing. If they do well, the value of my NFT goes up. Sorry, the value of my Pokemon card goes up. It's
Right.
great, but it's not intrinsically connected and it can't earn. So that's a really novel use case of an NFT, especially combined with collectability. Then you have community, and the idea is you really need to incentivize and empower the community to create value with you. And then you have the ecosystem perks like access to games, access to the platform, the free books, or the, winning collectible books, access to certain things. And if you can do all four, you have an incredibly powerful NFT. Now, different projects have connected these things in different ways, but I believe we're the first ones to create a saleable product, which is things like books, things like audiobooks and YouTube streaming with the books, and all of these things, where the income source and the product directly relate to the NFT. So the books can directly increase the collectability of the NFT, and the books can also directly increase the earnings of the NFT. And yeah, I'm just not seen that before. So the whole point of the bank is to give people opportunities to create value. The whole point of everything we do is to give people opportunities to create value. So we've deemed that, say, for instance, someone who buys an NFT, their royalty creates value. Some of the royalties go into the vaults. Then if they're holding their NFT, they're inadvertently creating value because they are enabling that NFT to appreciate. If you sell the NFT, you're kind of, I guess, getting rid of the value you've created. But if you hold it, you're increasing the value. So promise staking allows you to do that. Now, there's also the kind of like straightforward stuff. For instance, the more NFTs you hold, it could be argued, or the more NFTs you've bought as well, it could be argued that you are creating more value. So that needs to be rewarded. And then we've got the gamification element where we've got combo staking, seasonal combo bonuses. Now, these are necessary, one, to stimulate a healthy trading economy, where the last thing you would ever want is pure stagnation. You wouldn't want nobody selling their NFT. They're all locked in and they're just compounding points, because
Right.
eventually you have a house of cards. And we've seen that with certain staking crypto like Hex, Richard Hart's Hex. If you see the rise and fall of Hex, it's crazy. And it was because of a locked system without, yeah. If you guys are interested, check out Hex. I won't go into it too much, but you can see the house of cards. And so we need, at the end of each season, we need a healthy trading economy, and we also need to be able to make it the staking engaging, so people aren't just simply forgetting about their NFTs. It gives them an incentive to engage in the community. So for instance, you can have a combo bonus on top of all of your other staking points, whether
Now,
it's fluid or promise.
does this combo bonus, does this tie into the lore, like what's going on right then, or is it just the combos are just kind of, or whatever they are?
It's a good question. So each season they'll change and they'll become more and more tied into the lore. There's
Gotcha.
something really interesting we're doing with that. So first of all, they are loosely tied into the lore in various ways anyway, um, because of the fact that our NFTs have different factions and clans, and the collectability and the season bonuses are named after those. But
Right.
as time goes on, this is technically alpha. I don't know what I'm allowed to say and what I'm not allowed to say, because
You're allowed to say
we're
everything.
in the
This is WenMint, and I am very good at pulling alpha out of people without them knowing it. So why have I said this long?
the team might just be going, "Shut up, Jimmy, don't say." But I mean, we always drop alpha. We always tell people our vision in the Discord. I can talk for hours on the Discord. I probably put half the community to sleep when I'm talking for hours in our group chats. But what we're doing is, this is just the beginning, the Bank of Moonstone, with a little bit of lore-based gamification in the seasonal combos, and you'll see the user interface has, literally Moonstone built into a map. It's really cool. But then everything is going to interconnect. Every establishment we build in the virtual Moonstone in our GameFi platform is going to connect. So combo bonuses are just kind of basic right now, but you got to start basic, make sure the system works, then
Right.
expand.
Yeah. And I'm sure in the future there's no, I mean, already just with it coming out, the staking platform like this, and it's hard to even call it a staking platform because it feels like it's a lot more than just that, because this ties into so much more with what's going on behind the scenes. But I do have to say, because we've been going for almost an hour, we still have to talk about this book. But I do have a
Okay.
question that I
Okay.
just got in a DM from someone with the now prestige can be turned into ADA rewards, right? Like with the sale of the book, right? That'll be an income source. A percentage of that goes into the vault and in the bank, and depending on how much prestige you have, right, that directly correlates to your rewards in
Mhm,
ADA. What
mhm.
other income sources are there? Are there any in play already? Are there any planned for the future? For right now, is it just kind of the book? We're doing one at a time, and then we'll move on to the next thing.
So we want to increase our income sources as aggressively as possible while not compromising on quality. So, for instance, the books, making them great books rather
Right.
than one great book can often be better than 10 average books, but by all means, 10 great books is way better than one great book. So, we want to be as aggressive on that front as possible. Our major income sources to begin with will be the ebook, paperback, hardcover, and collectible hardcover and audiobook of A Tale of the Nine Lands. And then very soon after that, we want to look at Book.io. To be honest with you, Book.io has an extremely long wait list, very hard to get in with at the moment.
Yeah,
But
it's been like that for a while. It's tough.
yeah, well, I mean, I'm extremely confident when they see our product in action, and when they see what we're capable of, they'll fast track it. I've almost got no question about that. It's just getting that in has been a bit slower. But I mean, either way, they've got their self-service platform coming, and if we have to wait for that, we'll wait for that. But we believe we actually deserve to go on a priority list. So we'll that's the topic for another time for
Right,
Book.io.
right, right.
Hopefully, someone for Book.io is watching this. But either way, including those revenue, or rather those income sources that I've described, we plan on monetizing them in various ways as well. For instance, audio on YouTube with high subscribership is paying quite well at the moment. You've also got audiobooks on Spotify, and we want to expand the product range from there. It goes without saying, more books, absolutely, but then we want to look at, once we've built out this gamified platform for Web3. Our NFT holders are our kind of like alpha and beta testers of the platform, but our goal is always to create something that appeals to Web 2 as well. Now,
Right.
what we're really creating is what I like to call, it's going to end up a bit like the Neopets of the Stag Alliance. So the Neopets of epic fantasy. Not that you'll be collecting pets, that's just Neopets is
Well, you
pets,
could
but
have a stag as a pet.
you could. I feel they're a little, they don't look very pet-like to me, but
Yeah,
you
they
absolutely
they
could.
don't fit in the bed with you at night. Well, they could, but it could be
Well,
painful.
but exactly, yeah, they look kind of. I wouldn't want to get in a fight with a stag. Put it that way.
No, no.
Not one of the Stag Alliance stags. But yeah, so uh, a web platform with various mini games that appeal to Web2 users. When we open it up, we're not going to require you to need an NFT because we want to make it seamless.
Right.
And I've been onboarding my IRL friends to crypto this bear market, and their feedback is generally, this was a bit much. I don't want to store a seed phrase. I don't want to do this. But some of them came around to it. Nevertheless, there's a long way to go with user experience for NFTs and crypto, and we hope to pave the way with that one step at a time. First step is creating our web platform for Web3, and then adding the mini games and features for Web2, and making it like an exciting RPG strategy, but with mini games and a whole bunch of opportunities where your involvement has various outcomes, but the involvement for Web3, essentially the idea is the more engaged you are, the more you can earn, which is generally what a lot of people's goals are. An
Right.
example of that would be we're going to enable people to create social value with us, like our social gamification platform that we've already got, but we're tying it into the main gamified platform and the Bank of Moonstone. And that kind of thing, when they all connect, it's going to be like a fun ground of online opportunity, somewhere where people can get involved in various ways, passively or actively, and create fun opportunities for themselves that actually have tangible rewards too. So it should be
There
fun.
there really are a ton of connections with Stag Lines, right? It's like you guys
Mm.
really are like the fates over here with way too many threads. But that's not a bad thing, right? The more the better, but it's got to be a hell of a balancing act. Right?
It's yes, absolutely. This is one of the things I would always say, and one thing I emphasize to our community in Discord is on a daily basis, we think of almost everything, and we really think about big picture, big ideas, and we pick and kind of prioritize and solve problems one at a time. So our vision is like crazy. I can tell you now, our vision is crazy. Like me and Ash and the rest of the team, we think about things, talk about things, explore things that most people probably aren't even thinking of. And when we have an opportunity, we can tie them all in and announce them and build them and launch them. But me and Ash have never been the type to try and push hype, hype, hype. We could
Right.
have done that by just saying, yeah, we'll launch a token, staking, we'll do everything we're doing, but you can earn this token, dump it, do what you want. We could have created a lot of hype maybe with rushing staking in, rushing the token in, but we wanted to do it all correctly. And as you say, there are many threads, many, many threads, but we are making sure that we launch or kind of connect the right threads at the right time. So the first
Right.
connection is Web3 Bank of Moonstone. Nice and simple. A sophisticated staking platform where you can earn great rewards. Then Web2, fantasy book that is starting to build out our fantasy world. Now, this fantasy book is not trying to shove stags down people's throats and say, check out our JPEGs, buy, buy, buy. No, it's starting to build the Elder World, which is the fantasy world that the stags also reside in, so to speak. But we want to create a household brand. So we've got to create many products, many books, and then they all connect along with the gamification. The game platform starts Web3, builds out, and then eventually we can finally say, okay, these markets are ready to merge and the technology and the user experience is ready to merge them. But they'll all be interconnected in various ways. And the best example of that is, well, you've got income coming from the books into the Bank of Moonstone. So we're already blurring the lines between digital and physical, and we're already empowering the community to with us, with a shared incentive, accelerate the project to massive heights. So
Hell,
we're kind of achieving our vision one step at a time.
and that's the best way to do it, right? You can't rush anything like this. And don't forget, everyone, if you like what you're hearing, right, go to X, follow Stag Alliance. It's at Stag Alliance. Can't miss it. Or head over to the website because you can find everything here, everything, including the Discord. And go check out this community because I know you'll love it. It's stagalliance.com. And one thing I have to say, right, that I really like when everyone talks about Web 2, right? Hey, we got to break out of the echo chamber, right? Everyone
Right.
says echo chamber. They yell it in the echo chamber and it bounces back and hits them in the face. And a lot of people, like, oh, we're going to do it through gaming or whatever, but there's so many different ways to do this, right? Like
Yeah.
having a book is something that not many, I don't think, have tried but it's a great way to do it. Fantasy is a huge market. It's like with WenMint. That's why I went to Hulu. And thank God they gave me the thumbs up, right, for
Awesome.
to advertise on it. But that's something, that's a way to get in people's faces, and you're not trying to push
Mm,
stags down their throat. You just want it there. You want it to be seen, and then as they start enjoying this, as they become a part of what you're building in Web 2, right? I'm doing the same thing. Then you pull them in, right? And you start
exactly.
guiding them where down the path you want them to go. And it's a lot less painful.
Is exactly. I think we have to be really aware that still crypto and NFT have a bad name,
Unfortunately.
and
Yep.
if you start the conversation by saying, just hear me out, NFTs aren't as bad as you think they are, while I'm being very truthful, instantly the person is going to be quite cold to what I'm saying. But if you say, here's a book about a fantasy world and characters and things that you like, and by the way, this was in partnership with a project, jump into the Discord, no NFTs mentioned. They
Right.
jump into the Discord, they want to talk about the book, they
And if they're already
learn.
gamers, right, they probably already know about Discord, right?
Oh, definitely, yeah.
There's plenty of people outside of Web3, like people like me, right? I
Yeah,
started Discord because of NFTs and Web3. Same with Twitter. It's why I have
right.
one, was because I can. But like my daughter, she has Discord. She
Cool.
had it long before I even started messing with. So plenty of people already have Discord. So it's a good point. Just wanted to throw that out
Definitely.
there.
Absolutely, yeah, and even still then, you don't want people who have enjoyed a book to just jump into the Discord and then everyone's like, "Oh, buy stags, buy stags." It just wouldn't be good. But if you're
Right.
met with friendly people in the Discord, and our community are really friendly. They're all really, really nice people, really great to chat with. I love hearing about their real lives and just getting to know them. Wish I had more time to do it as well, but we've got a project to build as well, so it's a balancing act there. But people coming in, talking about the book, just exploring maybe the Stag Alliance lore, or very soon more products, more books, learning about the world, and eventually recognizing that they're all interconnected in a fantasy world that they like. Once you've gotten to the end of the book and you see the ad to come in our Discord, we can assume you've read the whole book. You must have
Right.
enjoyed it, or you would have put it down, right? But then later we can build out the kind of harder sell as well, because we absolutely want to create mass collectible value for the stags. And there's a really interesting topic there where NFTs are kind of weird and wacky, right? Most NFTs are weird and wacky. Like, you look at
Yeah.
anything from CryptoPunks right through to stags. Like, we've got a stag here with ski goggles, loop earring, and a paintbrush in
Yeah.
its
He's a
mouth.
he's a handsome guy. Yeah.
Yeah, a couple of varsity jackets. It's weird and wacky, and we could have not gone for weird and wacky. But I love the weird and wacky. And I think it's really important that we created the NFTs for the Web3 market, where weird and wacky is the norm, juxtaposition of strange traits, juxtaposition of different times, histories, cultures, all of these things. So we did that also kind of knowing that, well, actually, if a Web2 person saw that, they'd kind of be like, this is funny, this is cool, but this isn't what I expect. It's not Game of Thrones.
Right.
But for us, that's fine, because it makes it a collectible with distinction. It's like, it's distinctive. So we've still got to merge that to an extent as well. That you've got people who are expecting Game of Thrones, and then
And
they
they
see something.
Yeah, they get a stag with Christmas ornaments or something hanging off its antler. Yeah, I got you. But you know what might work? And again, you guys might already thought about this. I might be leaking some alpha I didn't even know about. It might be a great idea to have a Discord specifically for the books, that community members that love the books, that love the stories, that they can hang out, talk about it, have threads about it, talk about the lore. And then that's where these people are guided to. So they don't come right into something that has mints and Ada talk and everything else, and then it's just, that's another part of the Stag Alliance, Discord community, is a separate, literature Stag Alliance Discord, where people would probably feel a lot more comfortable from Web 2. Who knows?
Absolutely, yeah. We are crafting that user journey with that in mind.
Cool.
Put it this way: people who come in to our Discord for the books aren't going to have immediate visibility to all of the channels, because those
Oh,
channels
gotcha,
would
gotcha,
scare them.
gotcha.
Though that Discord scares me. I go into our Discord and I look at all of our channels and I think, wow, we've done a lot in this Discord, and it's great. You've got the giveaway channels, you've got the trading channels, sales channels, Twitter channels, but we will be certainly crafting a user journey for people coming in who, if are more interested just in the books, can be uh, welcomed into those channels and our
Right.
general chat too. We're certainly not here to just throw them into the deep end of NFTs and say enjoy. Glad you enjoyed the book. Now enjoy
Yeah.
NFTs. It's
Now
not going to
now
be like
swallow
that.
this pill. Yeah, that one
Yeah.
that wouldn't work too well. But that's great that
No.
you guys have the foresight to think about this, and everything we've talked about, I think, kind of points uh, to, if nothing else, the fact that Stag Alliance and really play out in their heads a thousand moves in advance here, right? You guys are playing chess, and you want to make sure that this is successful. And it seems like a lot of planning and a lot of time, and probably a lot of sleepless nights have gone into this.
Yeah. Oh God, yeah. Oh, I mean, definitely, yeah. We put our everything into it. There's no question about it. You're right. It is like chess for us, and I absolutely love it. Like I absolutely love uh, problem solving, visionary thinking, thinking about opportunities and what we can do. And we've got a great team to take these things that are just always, they begin as ideas. All of our team of visionary thinkers, and come up with great sort of long-term ideas, and we play the chess then to make it happen. And I really hope the community see that and appreciate that, because I appreciate their patience. It means we're not the quickest to hype, we're not the quickest to release things, but it does mean the probability of a game changer is higher too. Essentially, the probability of us, and I think we've already created a game changer, um, when people recognize the way that everything's connected. And we'll absolutely be doing more marketing on that matter.
Right.
um, we're looking to work with marketing agencies and bring in a full-time marketer to the team. The irony is we have great marketers on the team. For instance, I was a senior marketer before, I guess about until about 3 years ago. Blackie, one of our lead guild generals, is also a senior marketer currently, but we just don't have the time. So we need to
Right.
bring extra hands on deck. And then when people recognize what we've created, no NFT project is a dead cert unless it's got legendary status like CryptoPunks. CryptoPunks
Yeah.
are a dead cert. They will, um, with that sort of first mover, first establishment advantage, they will always be worth awful lots of money, just like a Van Gogh painting is. But every other crypto project has to keep optimizing its probability of a game changer to get into that legendary status. So that's what we're doing. We're absolutely trying, and by connecting the fantasy world, by connecting earnings, collectability to the product, where most other NFT projects have connected their income sources to things that are very unlikely to improve the collectability of the NFT. For example, a DeFi product, or uh, crypto mining, or real estate, or any kind of real life project. Yeah, real estate's a good one because it's really popular at the moment. Any like real world asset tokenization, none of that is going to directly increase the collectability. And we're talking like Pokemon cards or art or ancient coins. But fantasy products are proven to increase the collectability of something, especially um, successful fantasy products, which is our mission. So when it all comes together, I genuinely firmly believe we've created a monster. We've created something that no one else has yet. And that alone should be enough for people to see our potential. And then the proof will be in the pudding. But
Oh yeah.
the interesting thing about crypto and NFT and any speculative market, even like Apple shares, um, once the pudding is there, it's too late. Once the pudding is there, it's too late. So it's up to people to decide, like if I had a great collection of Pokemon cards when I was 10, I sold them when I was about 13. If I
Yeah,
had them now,
I hear you. I had a bunch of Magic cards that I don't know where the
oh
hell they
yeah.
are. I had so many Magic cards. I have
Nice.
no clue. It's
Nice.
terrible, but
Uh,
I never got rid of them. So they might be buried somewhere in storage.
that's
Who knows?
cool.
I
Well,
gotta
I
dig
hope
through
you
my
find
father's
them.
house. I hope so too.
I hope you find them. Yeah,
I'll
I
buy
love that
Stags.
kind of thing.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
I have to say what you said about the income stream directly, strengthening the project itself because the stags are part of this story, right? Maybe not right in the
Yeah.
beginning, right? You're building up the world, everything
Yeah.
else, but that's a really cool idea, right? That they bounce back and forth and they strengthen each other. So speaking on this story, because
Yeah.
like you said, the proof is in the pudding. So
Yeah.
the pudding is March 23rd. We're gonna have some pudding
Well,
on Amazon, right?
yeah, so it's a little bit of pudding, right?
Just a
We're going to release many books. It's actually one of my biggest goals at the moment, and it's been working quite well since we brought in two more core team members. We brought in an operations manager and a community manager, and it's taken a lot of weight off my shoulders to allow me to write more. So I'm deep into the prequel to this book, and the prequel I love because I found a great way to really emphasize on the power of the portal passes, which is our OG pass. So the portals in the prequel really get a good kind of screen time, showtime. Um, and we're going to create loads of books and create a whole fantasy franchise, like a whole fantasy world. Now, the proof is in the pudding for sure. But the beauty of what we're doing is we can create and create and create. So one book, you'd be very unlikely to become an instant overnight success with one book. But
right,
what happens when you have 10 books in your catalog, 20 books in your catalog, 30? It's continually bringing value back into the project and bringing value to the NFTs, collectible and earning, but also it increases the community value because the more books we get out there, the bigger the community
right,
becomes. And finally, the ecosystem value, because the more income that comes in, the more we can spend on building the games. And so essentially, yeah, the proof is in the pudding, but the pudding is continually baking. We have
right. The,
a
the the pudding is like the blob, and it continues to grow
exactly,
exponentially over time.
exactly, yeah,
Uh,
is
uh,
exactly,
Now, and what you said about a book, not all books are overnight successes, right? But that doesn't
no,
mean that they can't get huge. A lot of people don't know this, right? But Song of Fire and Ice, right? Game of Thrones, that was first written in the 80s. The first installment to that, and he was putting out books like every year, every 2 years, whatever. The
yeah,
the time span started to spread out. Look at Robert Jordan, Wheel of Time. People didn't know what the hell that was a
yeah,
few years ago. Now it's on Amazon.
yeah,
Okay,
exactly,
so
yeah,
yeah, so things don't have to in the literary world take off instantly, but you build that catalog, right? Every single edition that comes out, every single sequel to the next and the next and the next, brings in more to the bank of Moonstone, right? To
exactly, yeah,
reward people,
yeah,
and it helps grow that world. So then, when you have a bunch of books, right? If Joe Schmo goes and picks up volume one and says, "Oh, this looks cool," and now he can go to the store and instantly get volume two, volume three, volume four, and that's when somebody really gets hooked.
oh,
With
exactly, yeah, yeah,
yeah,
exactly, and that's the plan. I mean, I personally, I plan to write the Elder World novels till I die. So I'm just going to keep writing them, no matter what happens. And again, a lot of crypto projects don't have, or rather, a lot of NFT projects don't have the means to produce. They need to outsource, and that's why the budgets, burn very, very quickly. You can burn a budget like that in crypto. We've seen it many, many times in NFT, I mean. But Ash is an expert visual designer and artist, and I am I I'm blunt enough to say I'm a good writer. So we can just produce no matter what. So we have a huge contingency, and that contingency is us. But what we also have, the most exciting thing here, I'm glad you touched on that. Some books don't kick off instantly. Sometimes authors take a long time to find what you could say their community. Sometimes publishers can't generate the momentum. Often new authors have to market themselves. The publisher won't take a risk on them. But we have the most powerful thing possible enabled by Web3. We have a community of 1,350 holders, maybe more, maybe a bit less, who have a strong interest in the success of the product because it can directly increase the earnings potential and the collectability of the NFT. Now, a lot of people forget about collectability, but collectability is where the real uncapped value is. So put it this way, if every one of our holders, and I know they won't because some of them aren't in the Discord actively all the time, some of
Right.
them perhaps don't have the funds, or everyone has their own aspirations and goals and all of these things. But if every single holder bought a book on the day of release on the 23rd, we would very likely become number one on Amazon in fantasy if every holder did it.
Oh yeah.
Maybe we would get to the top 10 if it's a really competitive day. This time of year is not the most competitive. So think of it like that. That's the power the community have. We could be an instant Amazon number one bestseller if we all just come together and, for instance, buy a $5 ebook. Most people spend that on coffee in a day, if not a week. So that's the power of Web3. And then what happens? What you could say is no one's got that incentive without Web3. So yeah, you might like an author, like I really like Stephen King, but when he releases a book, my only interest in that is my own
Right.
for reading the book, right?
Yeah, just for the experience. I get what you're saying.
Yeah, it's a new paradigm of value. I don't think we've had it before. The consumer and the community are now like connected in a way that has never been connected before. Essentially, there's no consumer anymore because we all have an interest
Right.
in creating value that's captured by the NFT, and that's just never existed before.
Yeah, and communities definitely don't realize, I don't think, the power that they have, right?
No,
And if if you're not on live streams, if you don't have a mic next to your name in a Twitter space, right? If you're just a PFP that retweets stuff and likes stuff and comments on things and degens into projects, you are the most important part of this space, right? That is the
definitely,
lifeblood of the NFT space. And if a project's community, it's a giant marketing machine if it's put
definitely,
to work the right way.
definitely.
And there's nothing that can stop a group of like-minded people, right? That absolutely nothing.
No, exactly. And what I love about the Stag Alliance community, we minted just as the deep bear started. So many projects would have been abandoned by their community. And don't get me wrong, we've had turnover, so to speak, because that's just natural. But we have a core community of people who are there to really support the community. And I just call it creating value. That can manifest in many different ways, whether it's our apprentice mods who are making sure the Discord's a great place to be, or whether it's someone like Pixie who does Pixie's Art Corner. We have Pixie creates art write-ups of the Stag Alliance art, so bringing a more artistic perspective to the project, which a lot of NFT projects might not have. And it's so cool to see the community creating, and that creation is creation of value in so many different ways. Now, I do think that this being my third cycle, I've seen many a bear market. It's incredibly tough for a project to steer that bear market and come out of the bear market with a good community, and we have a great one. And I'm so excited to see that grow now as well, whether it's book lovers, or whether it's people coming back to NFTs because the bare winter's over and everyone returns when the pastures look greener. I'm really, really hyped for that. I think it's going to be great for our core community because everyone loves more hype, more energy.
Oh yeah.
And it's going to be great for us as team and founders because the community literally just give us so much energy, and obviously just great for the project as well. So I'm really excited about that. Always
Hell yeah.
impossible to time these things. You never know when optimism's going to shift in a cycle, but I see it coming soon.
But
So
like you
that will
said,
be great.
greener pastures are coming, and there's nothing that a stag likes more than
Exactly. We love
green
grazing on the
pastures,
greener pastures.
right?
Exactly. 100%. Yeah, that's a perfect metaphor or analogy. Yeah, great.
Oh yeah. But we are getting close to the end here, right?
I
But
appreciate that.
on March 23rd, people, right? Whether or not you hold a stag, if you're in this space, you most likely enjoy fantasy. And you can get a Stag Alliance ebook on Amazon on March 23rd. I'm gonna get one,
Absolutely, yeah.
right?
I
I
really
can't wait.
appreciate that. It's gonna that's the thing as well. So I guess even if you're not a stag holder and you just simply want to see the space succeed, I'm trying to get something on my Kindle to show you, so I can. So, for instance, I believe this will be. I don't know if you can see it.
Yep,
This
in
will be
partnership with Stag
the
Alliance with a QR
first
code.
the first direct link of a product on Amazon to it's Web3 and Web2 linked by that QR code essentially, and it's a subtle start. The book isn't buy stags, buy stags, buy stags because it wouldn't go too well. But if you've enjoyed a book and you come across a QR code, a damn cool logo that Ash designed, and it simply says we're changing the way communities interact and create online, which we are. I'm not going to start saying new paradigm of value by stags. And then we say join our community to learn more about A Tale of the Nine Lands, meet the author, team, and community behind the project, and shape the elder world with us. It's like a really soft and nice intro. And absolutely, the community has helped create this product. The community has absolutely helped. So we've all got this connection to it, and we're now going to be connected to Web2 people in an amicable way, not a scary way, basically.
Yeah,
So
not a jam Web3 down your throat way. And I have to say now, I got to do it, people. Shameless shill. When you go to Amazon, okay, this is Amazon, all right, Amazon.com, and you search for Stag Alliance, okay, and you find the book. Don't forget to type in WenMint as well. And
nice.
check
I
out
didn't realize
what we
you
have
had.
on there.
That's cool. I didn't realize at all you had merch on Amazon.
Oh yeah, and I
Nice one.
actually have a community member, and anyone else, and you don't have to be, all access whitelist holder or anything. Anyone that listens to WenMint, if you have a really cool logo idea, if you love doing art, um, just let me know. I'll give you the dimensions. I'll throw it on something. We'll put it up there, even if only for a couple weeks. I can do pillows, tote bags, pop sockets, t-shirts, hoodies, whatever. And if you would like to see your art up there, just throw a WenMint logo in it, and I'd be more than happy to put it up because it really is. It's pretty cool. They actually have really good turnaround
Awesome.
with this. I could have new products in
Nice.
like a day.
And is
So yeah,
is that Amazon distributing and
yeah,
producing the product? Oh, cool. I
yep,
didn't realize they did
yeah. They do
B2G.
the
Nice.
print on demand. Yep, and
Yeah,
they
yeah,
ship
yeah.
everything. It's pretty cool. You just got to go through a whole process to get accepted for it. But
I get you. Yeah, that's awesome. I used to have a direct to garment fashion business, and a
oh,
lot of
nice,
people suggested Amazon, but it was a kind of like a organic, ethical style thing, and some of our market wouldn't have been. It
right?
would have clashed with Amazon potentially, so we didn't go to Amazon. But it's really cool they do that. That is awesome.
Absolutely. So yeah, check it out. Go to Amazon
Nice.
on the
Yeah.
23rd and get your copy of the book and support Stag Alliance and what they're doing for the space and bring everyone in. I love how you have the page, right, where like you read this story, you love it, and then it's like, hey, you want to help us shape this world, this thing you loved so much? Well, join us. And then all of a sudden, they're in Cardano NFT Discord, whether they know it or not, right?
Yeah. We'll start off with they don't know it, and
Right,
then
and
later
we'll
they
get
know
them
it
there.
live. Yeah, we'll get
We'll
them
get
there,
them there.
exactly.
And
Exactly, no.
yeah, and don't forget, everyone, we are going to have a stag to give away from Jimmy and the rest of the team. So thank you again. But as soon as we went to post it before the episode, Me Six, their server was down. I guess something's going on with Me Six. So we asked the community. They said they still want it in the Discord. So Twitter bots don't win it. So don't forget. Go over to WenMintPodcast.io, join the Discord, get in there and keep your eyes on giveaways. I'll make sure I put up an announcement when the giveaway's up. We'll leave it up for a couple days because not everyone can catch the show live, right? And yeah, so thank you again so much for the stag to give away
Our
to
pleasure.
everyone. You could be part of this book. Who knows? Your stag might end up in this book someday. So I'd hold on to it if I was you. And Monday, go check out Bank of Moonstone.
Absolutely, yeah,
Get your
especially if
stag
you have
taken.
stags, yeah,
Hell yeah.
definitely.
And get that prestige built up,
Exactly,
right?
get
And
that
who doesn't want it?
prestige, yeah.
Who doesn't want prestige, right? What a
Exactly,
great name. Yeah, come on.
who doesn't want to earn a little bit of Ada at the end of the season, you know?
That too. And prestige equals Ada. Uh so
Exactly, and
so
more.
so before we go, and thank you again so much. This has been a ton of fun and a ton of info on Stag Alliance. But for anyone that's maybe seen the Stags, on their timeline or whatever, but didn't really know what you were up to, right? They
Right.
just saw the art. They were like, okay, another project, and they kept scrolling. But now they heard this and they like what they hear and they're excited about the book, right? They're excited about a different kind of staking platform and all these different connections you're making.
Mhm.
What would you tell them, as kind of a final call to arms to get them involved in the project and to get them to go out and sweep a stag and become part of what you're doing?
Well, I mean, I think once they've watched this, if they are still not interested, I would be surprised. I mean, I would have a very different perspective of potential. But I would say come into our Discord because our community members know the project really well. And I do appreciate the project is a beast, but how can you create a household brand without many threads coming together? So
Right,
there's a lot to grasp, and that's why I wanted to keep it simple to begin with. Staking platform, sophisticated, gamified,
right.
earnings, all of these things. Book, nice and simple and exciting. But if you come into our Discord and you start talking to our community members and our bigger holders, and myself and Ashley and the rest of the team, you can get all the information you need and we can clarify anything that needs clarification because I appreciate that there's an awful lot to absorb here. You could probably watch this 2 or 3 times and say, wow, there's a lot going on there.
Right.
So just remember that we are the first project in the world that I'm aware of who have meaningfully connected the four major types of value capture of an NFT, which is collectability, earnings, community, and ecosystem perks. And considering we were the first or are the first to ever do that I'm aware, no one's ever challenged me on that. So far, we're still the first. Then we have immense potential. So join us and help us make it happen.
Hell yeah, absolutely. And like you very well said, but Pixie Art said it very well. Also, if you love fantasy, want to invest long term and love great art, then remember two words: Stag Alliance.
I like it. Yeah,
And do it for the
absolutely.
herd. Okay, do it for the
For
herd.
the herd.
Not Amber Heard, the herd.
The
Okay.
herd.
The
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 only
herd.
herd. The best herd.
Hell yeah. Well, thank you again so
Thank
much,
you so
Jimmy,
much too. Yeah, this
for
has been
joining me.
great. Really enjoyed talking to you.
Hell yeah. It was definitely a lot of fun. We're gonna have to do it again once the book comes out because I'm gonna want to talk about this because I am gonna pick it up and read it.
Great.
I'm a bit of a fantasy nerd and
Amazing.
sci-fi guy, so I cannot
Oh,
wait.
amazing. Yeah,
And
I love your feedback.
hell yeah, the 23rd is 2 days before my birthday. So I'm gonna make sure I get myself a birthday present and pick this book up.
That's awesome. If
Hell yeah.
I tell you what, we won't have the collectible edition ready, but if you remind me your birthday was really close to the launch when you see those out, maybe we
Oh,
could sort something out for you.
see, I like how this worked out. Hell yeah. Well, thank you again so much for being here,
Thank
Jimmy,
you
and
to you too.
everyone that tuned in. from Stag Alliance. We've had hundreds of people in and out of this, and right now there's 161 eyes on us. So
Awesome.
Jimmy, you got a lot of fans out there, and there's going to be even more because this will stay on X and YouTube into perpetuity. So until the end of time, this
Great.
episode will be available. And yeah, thank you for watching WenMint. Make sure you head over to the webpage, join the Discord. We'll have all our shows in there. We have Alien Coinata. Tomorrow I'm talking to Wi-Fi, trying to get them locked in, and some really, really big news coming up in the near future with Eddie from Platypus Cyberpunks. Oh my God. After an hour, I can't speak. With Platypus Cyberpunks and Whimsy Estates. Sorry, Ed.
Awesome.
And with that, if you want to hang out, that's great, but I got to kick everybody else out. So thanks again, everybody. Stay classy.
Cheers for coming, everyone. See you later.